The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said,
How long will you speak these things, and the words of your mouth be like a strong wind? Does God subvert judgment? Or does the Almighty pervert justice? If your sons have sinned against him, he has cast them away for their transgression. If you would earnestly seek God and make your supplication to the Almighty, surely now he would awake for you and prosper your rightful dwelling place. Though your beginning was small, yet your latter end would increase abundantly. For inquire, please, of the former age, and consider the things discovered by their fathers. For we were born yesterday and know nothing, because our days on earth are a shadow. Would they not teach you and tell you, and utter words from their heart? Can the papyrus grow without a marsh? Can the reeds flourish without water? While it is yet green and not cut down, it withers before any other plant. So are the paths of all who forget God, and the heart of the hypocrite shall perish, whose confidence shall be cut off, and whose trust is a spider's web. He leans on his house, but it does not stand. He holds it fast, but it does not endure. He grows green in the sun, and his branches spread out in his garden. His roots wrap around the rock heap and look for a place in the stones. If he is destroyed from his place, then it will deny him, saying, I have not seen you. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and out of the earth others will grow. Behold, God will not cast away the blameless, nor will he uphold the evildoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughing and your lips with rejoicing. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked will come to nothing.
Today we dive deep into Job's debate with his friends as Bildad offers cold comfort and simplistic answers to Job's suffering. But in chapter 9, we witness Job wrestling with profound questions about God's justice and the mystery of his human suffering. Join us as we explore these powerful chapters and push the boundaries of faith and understandings in times of trials. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. So hopefully everyone had a great week. It's another weekend or another point in time when you listen to the podcast. It's not saying that you have to listen to it on time. But yeah, man, it's always great to have another Sabbath, another rest time, another time when you could just stop and take a deep breath, hopefully. So hopefully everyone there gets to enjoy the Sabbath, enjoy this time of rest, and just enjoy the weekend overall, because Lord knows I need it.
Amen to that.
How's your week been?
Our week was long, man. Our week was long and slow.
Felt that.
For real, for real. I am progressing with my my therapy. You know, I see them about once a week now.
Okay.
And when I do my own thing, sometimes I test my limits.
Mhm.
And I can see definite progress. It just, I'll be honest with you, it ain't, you would think it's getting easier. It's not, it's just getting less painful. So
Right?
if you count that as easier, you know what I mean? But still a hassle, it's still like testing my flexibility, you know what I mean? And like I was doing an exercise this week, but my gut knee start acting up.
Bro, I was just about to say, dog. I was going jogging this week, right? I had a feel a little something in my knee. And I say, the devil is a liar.
Oh no, boy.
I say, the devil is a liar. I say, but because my brethren, he just had his second knee surgery. You still in recovery. I say,
Oh,
Lord,
I tell you what, not 30 though. I tell you
I
what,
say, it's
take
knocking
it
on the
easy, man.
door, and I don't
Knocking
need
on
to
the
become
door.
a statistic. I do not need to become a statistic. I am seeing what 30 has done to others.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, just make sure you stretch, you keep stretching. You know what I mean? You stay active, bro. Because
I say, boy, let me go get one brace. Make sure this thing got some extra stability.
I still need a brace now, but I tell myself I can do that once I fully rehabilitated and back to
Yeah.
playing like certain sports. But yeah, man, that's my week. How was your week?
Oh, my week was busy. My week was busy, but it was good. Like, I actually got some stuff permitted for work and things were good. Got some sad news. Like one of my friends' mom died,
Oh man.
who was like pretty close to me growing up. So that was like kind of like a blow. And grief is always such a weird thing. Like even when like I mean we kind of going through this in Job too in some parts of it, right? But it's like when you know like your mommy died today, I live in a different country. And it's like, what could you really do? You know what I'm saying? Most I could do is just convey my condolences and say, bro, if you need me, I'm here for you. But
Yeah.
at first I was like, oh, I should call. And I was like, everybody probably trying to call. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and even if I call you, what words won't be enough, you know?
Yeah.
So just prayers up for him and his family. And yeah, man, it's always just rough. It's always just
Yeah.
rough.
Very
I
rough, bro.
could only imagine. I could only imagine. And Lord knows I don't want to have to imagine anytime soon.
Yeah. Life is precious, bro. And yeah, bro, grief hard, dog. Like hard to explain it, hard to even talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I'll
man.
definitely be keeping your friend and their family in prayers. Um, yeah. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's rough. It's definitely rough.
Mhm.
But it's like, and especially in times like this, it's like when you just got to hold on to know that like God knows why and understands all things. And it sounds so cliche, but it's like the only thing you really can hold on to in these times, right? And even when you like trying to talk to others about it, and again, sometimes you see like with Joe friends, they were silent for 7 days because their presence was just enough. It's like sometimes you can't do too much in the moment. You just got to be there for someone and
Yeah.
just let them know that you just here. Cry with you for an hour. This is random tangent, right? But DeMar DeRozan just brought out like a book recently over this summer or whatever, right? And he was saying he was telling a story about when his father died. I think his father died when he was playing for the Spurs, right?
Mm.
And he's saying like, man, the GM knew first, right? And he was saying like literally like the GM called him, like he called the GM and was like, yo, I probably gotta miss like the game or whatever because like yo, my father just passed away. And he's like 5 minutes later, like Coach Pop was on his door. And he said, Coach Pop sat in his room with him for 5 hours, bro.
Mm.
Cried with him.
Mm.
And he said he was just there. He didn't even have to talk. He was like, he was just there in the room with him, just crying with him. And like to me, like stuff like that is just powerful when you're going through these things. So even when you know someone you love or someone you respect or someone you care for, someone close to you going through this grief, it just shows the power just being there for them in that moment. Because really and truly, there's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do to bring back that loved one who died. There's nothing human you really could physically do to soothe that pain. That's only something really and truly only God could take away.
Mm.
And truly, the pain never goes away every day till you almost like you're injured. It just gets less painful.
Yeah. It get easier.
It gets easier to go on by.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, because I was thinking,
Mhm.
Yana just lost her grandfather. And that
Yeah.
was hard. I lost my grandfather a few years ago, but it just be interesting looking at it because I wasn't as close to my grandfather as she is to her grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
I think the love was there on both for me and her. You see what I'm saying? Like the
Mm-hmm.
love was there, but it's just the relationship and the this time spent was
Mm-hmm.
vastly different between us. So even with me, I was sad because I knew the day would come, but I just never prepared, and you could never really prepare for this. This one was a little different because it's like, bro, this a blow. You see what I'm saying? Like this a blow.
Yes,
And I
sir.
was even really thinking about like how their family, like just the different dynamic, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like Thanksgiving coming up and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to see though that like weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Bro. Like it's good to see like the joy in her family, you know, even after the fact. Like it was grieving, bro. It was hard, bro. Like we don't have to explain to no one how hard grief
But it
is. You
feels,
see what I'm
yeah.
saying? But to see people have joy after that, you know what I'm saying? Like to me, that's just the goodness of God. I think about a text, and I pray this text all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the text say, "All those who are weak and heavy laden, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus say, come to me and I will give you rest." You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I pray that prayer, like, Lord, you know, to all the, like whenever it's someone who's grieving, I pray that, Lord, to those who are weak and heavy laden, heavy burdened, Lord, be their rest. You know what I'm saying, Lord? Just be their rest, you know, and I do believe that the Lord is faithful and just to answer our prayers and to comfort, you know.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, so I definitely agree. It's a rough time to go through. And even when I lost my grandfather in 2021, August 2021,
Mhm.
it was so different because that one was like kind of like a shocking too. Like that was wild.
Mhm.
That was wild. It's like he went to the hospital on Friday and Sunday morning he died.
Mhm.
It was just it was just crazy. But yeah, man, like and it's so interesting too, because like you can't even anticipate when the true grief is going to hit you.
That's the crazy thing about it. Like,
Bro, because like the day of, I was fine.
mhm,
And shout out to my boy CJ, right? You know CJ, right?
mhm.
Because he know my grandfather died that day, and he called me like that night, and he said how you doing? I say I all right or whatever, right? And he was coming back through the corner for something, right? And he said, "Come outside." He looked at me, and say, "Bro, you ain't all right."
Yeah, that's CJ.
He said, "Bro, you ain't all right." Bro,
Yeah.
I hop in the car with him, bro. I just
Mhm.
start crying.
Yeah.
It was like almost like uncontrollably crying. And he had
Yeah.
boys in the car with him too, right? And
Mhm.
I was like, you're trying to like act up, but I just couldn't help.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just was like uncontrollably crying, bro. I was like, wow, that's just crazy. Because like you just don't know. Like it's like all the memories come rushing back, all these different things. You're like, bro, what's happening right now? And then I
Yeah,
was fine for the rest of the process. And then the whole funeral, I was fine. What hit me was when I see the casket going down in the grave.
boy, that's the
Bro,
final blow right
dog.
there, bro.
Wait, Kazi, when I talking about we lifting the coffin to the grave, bro, cracking, joking thing, right? Everyone trying to
Mhm.
keep up spirit.
The
But I
morale,
put
yeah.
that rose on the casket, dog.
Final.
And dog, I just freeze in place and just start bawling, bro.
Yeah,
I
bro.
say, whoa.
What does get me though? What does get me where I really can't control myself? When I see the unassuming person look like they can't hold it together. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? When you see that uncle who don't even smile that much, you see what I'm saying? Look like he about to break, but that just get me, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, wait, that's when boy, that it just be rough, bro. But
Yeah.
thank God for being able to turn our mourning into dancing. You know what I'm saying?
Mercy. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you want to still go through Psalms, so this could serve as our weekly thought. I don't
Yeah,
even
we
know
could.
how
Yeah,
we
we could
in. I
just go
even
ahead. We
forget.
could just go. We could go to. We could
Job,
go straight to Job.
you want to give a slight recap for how we got to where we are?
Yeah. So now we are in Job chapter. What is it? 8, right?
8.
And so now, last episode, I believe we went over 6 and 7, and we discussed the contrast between Job's response and Eliphaz's response. Eliphaz was his first friend that spoke. He broke the silence. And he say, man, truthfully, bro, you've comforted people before. You know what I'm saying? You have taught people how to be righteous. And one thing that's for sure is that the good happens to good people. You see what I'm saying? Bad happens to bad people. Like that's just me putting it in layman's terms. And even to double down on that, he was saying, bro, I had a vision in the middle of the night that was telling me, bro, like, does God make people suffer for no reason? You know what I'm saying? And so like all of these things cemented in Eliphaz's mind that Job's outcome is a direct result of who he is or the things that he has done, right? So Job responds to this saying, yo, it's hard for me to sleep and thing, bro. But I like if I could weigh my sorrow, it would be heavier than the sand of the sea. A very poetic book this is. And Job gives this metaphor about how tasteless certain food is, or how useless food is to the donkey that is already full, or the donkey who has so much to eat right in front of him, right? And then he goes on this rant about how he has been righteous. You know what I'm saying? How even if he wasn't righteous as a friend, you should, if you see your friend going through grief, you should take that time to comfort him, even if he has brought this grief upon his own self. However, Job maintains his innocence and turns around and says how baseless the argument that Eliphaz had was. Him, and he accuses all of his friends, and he compares that to food that is tasteless. You know what I'm saying? And then the following chapter, I believe that was chapter
8.
Chapter
7.
No, I'm sorry. That was chapter 6 I just outlined. Chapter 7 was Job going back to explaining his suffering. He goes back to talk about how he can't sleep. You know what I'm saying? How how bothersome everything is to him, and how if God could give him what he truly desires, that is to die. You know what I'm saying? Could you release me from my pain? Type of situation. And so after Job this is how this is the pattern that we've had. We learn about Job's situation, right? Then we have Job vent, Eliphaz rebukes, Job defends himself, then he gets back to venting. So that was verse 7, chapter 7. And now that brings us to chapter 8, where we hear from another one of Job's friends, Bildad, who has something to say on the entire situation. Let's see if he could add some perspective to all of this.
Another perspective. Man. And the next thing I wanted to point out from last chapter too, right? Like when that point when Job is like causing into the water, like Job started like almost like asking God, like, bro, like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you singling me out? Why you just here punishing me? And if whatever you claim I do so bad, why you just don't kill me? Right? So now so again, so that was kind of the end of like chapter 7.
Was that 6? I think chapter 6 he was asking why God don't kill him,
I could be wrong.
I can't remember, but I just know I just lumped the two together because it was all a part of Job's, just his response.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it might have been chapter 7, but.
Okay, so now Job just finished this whole long diatribe, right? And now, so in chapter 8, then Bildad the Shuhite answered and said, so this is the second friend, how long shall you speak these things? And the words of your mouth be like a strong wind. Does God subvert judgment, or does the Almighty pervert justice? If your sons have sinned against him, he has cast them away for their transgressions. If you would earnestly seek God and make your supplication to the Almighty, if you were pure and upright, surely now he would awake for you and prosper your rightful dwelling place. Though your beginning was small, yet your latter end would increase abundantly. For inquire, please, of the former age, and consider the things discovered by their fathers. For we were born yesterday and know nothing, because our days on the earth are a shadow. Will they not teach you and tell you and utter the words from their heart? You want to discuss anything so far? Or you want to keep going?
I mean, overall, we just seeing Bildad kind of sounds like, bro, let's just cut it out, Let's cut it out, bro. Like, you're unrighteous, bro. You had to have done something unrighteous which led you to this, and he kind of asking, he's like, bro, does it happen? Does God subvert judgment? Does the Almighty pervert justice? Does he punish people who are undeserving of punishment?
Mercy.
Does that sound right? And Job is in such a precarious position, bro. Like it's so, I don't know, it's just a sticky situation because the way we view God, even now, bro, if someone was to ask me that question, I feel inclined to say, no, God doesn't pervert justice. You know what I'm saying? This is a just God, this is a righteous God, and he don't take pleasure in punishing people. So why would someone be punished if they weren't deserving of it?
So,
Yeah.
and it's so interesting, right? Because again, I'm a keep on that same line of thought, right? He's saying, bro, God is always just. God is always just. So in Bildad's way of thinking, God is always just. Therefore, as a result of God's being just, he would not ever let an innocent person suffer. So
Correct.
we agree that God is just. And if a just God can't let an innocent person suffer, therefore we can surmise that you who are currently suffering is not innocent.
Right. You must be unjust. You must be unrighteous.
And here's the problem with that, right? And I was just having this conversation with Izzy earlier, right? It's so hard for a human mind to accept one, right? Like you could say God is just, but then the next part of it isn't as rock solid as you think. And I was like, that's kind of what the book of Job is like actually expounding upon. Our human way of thinking about God is so rigid that any time a ripple comes in that rigidity, it throws us for a loop. Because how can, and I think about it, a lot of people use this same logic to leave Christianity behind. Because how can a good God let me suffer? How can a good God allow my mother to die? How can a good God cause me to do all these other things that, like how could a good God cause me get sick? How could a good God let me get in this accident? How can a good God allow these bad things to happen? That doesn't make sense. Go for it. I see you want to say something.
And no, I just think into that point because it's like, I have pondered on a lot of topics. I have seen people debate. I have chimed in, and I realized that what is happening is very similar to the type of conversations that I have been in, theological debates on God using reasoning and logic, right? If this happened, then it's like this. I try to make the argument, and this was inspired by I think Patriarchs and Prophets the first time I heard this. Ellen was saying that Cain and Abel's sacrifice was an atonement for sin, right? And so you think about that and you're like, that's interesting. Because where else in the Bible do you make an animal sacrifice and it is not an atonement for sin? It is always an atonement for sin. Because without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins. We learn that in Hebrews, right? So when we go all the way back to Genesis, we say, oh, that's what was happening. They was atoning for sins. But the text does not just come out and say, hey, they were sacrificing to atone for sins. It just say one was a farmer, one deal with the livestock. The person who deal with the livestock did the animal sacrifice. The person who was a farmer did the fruit sacrifice. Now, what we have done is we assume that Cain did not do his best. They'd say Abel gave the best, right? But it don't say that for Cain. But it don't say that he didn't give the best. It didn't say, hey, Cain just give any old thing. And we make that assumption as to why God was mad, right? But if we think about the meaning of the sacrifice all throughout the Bible, you see what I'm saying? The meaning of the sacrifice, we realize why it was necessary to give an animal sacrifice, period, regardless of your what's it called? Regardless of your occupation.
Mhm.
So I make these theological arguments sometimes. Hey, if we look at the Bible, front to back, then back to front type of situation, it's themes that we really learn in the New Testament because it's expounded upon and it speaks to the Old Testament. Another example, when when Joseph said, why can I will not do this great thing and sin against God. He was talking to Potiphar's wife and she wanted to, have sex with him. He said, I don't want to sin against God, right? What is sin? If we learn in the New Testament that sin is the transgression of the law, if Joseph knew sin, that means Joseph knew the law, but the law was not given until hundreds of years later to Moses, which to me implies if Joseph knew sin, he must have known the law. So these are logical explanations I get into. You see what I'm saying? Because of the text, and I allowing text to inspire me to get to other texts, right? But there are people who have opposite view and they go text for text. Sometimes it's like, bro, like I've been listening to people talk about the Sabbath, right? I don't get in these type of conversations no more. If someone get into the conversation, if someone even proposed the conversation, first thing I asking is, what is your goal from even asking me this? Are you trying to understand my point of view? Or are you looking to debate? Because I ain't too much want to debate because he ain't changing my mind for real. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and so I heard somebody go through the Ten Commandments, and when they start with the Ten Commandments to speak against the 7-day Sabbath, I'm like, huh? No, bro, you can't start with the Ten Commandments because you could shoot yourself in the foot. You see what I'm saying? And they was going on to say, hey, every commandment, God is showing you, hey, do this because I am like this. Do that because I am like that, right? But when it comes to the fourth commandment, and he flipped the script. You see what I say? Like, I can't even remember his explanation, but it wasn't a do this because I am like this. And that's why I was like, bro, you can shoot yourself in the foot if you start with the commandments because the commandments are plain. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's in writing. It says, remember the Sabbath day, like, period, But he came up with his biblical explanation on that, right? This is a very smart dude. I respect him as a theologian, and we disagree on this. You see what I'm saying? I think this is an easy thing. I feel like if you were just uninfluenced, you wouldn't have the Sunday approach. But at the end of the day, I understand that we all have different interpretations on this, right? But the point I'm trying to get is, bro, these are two, I believe, when we see Job right now, Job and Bildad, these are two possibly theologians, highly likely that both of them are righteous men, and they speak in the principles of God as we have studied, as we know them to be fact. You understand what I'm saying? And they ending up with two opposing views. These two Christians probably, I call them Christians loosely, but they probably servants of the Most High God, right? At this time, how they would be classified, right? Probably have the same school of thought, have the same studying upbringing, but they come in to two different realities of God. And one, Job, I would say his understanding of God is from personal experience. If Job never went through this, he might have had the same opinion.
And I wholeheartedly agree because think about like even there's a couple more things I want to touch on what Bildad said, right? But even like to your point, right? See what he say, like, bro, consider like in verse 8, for inquire please of the former age and consider the things discovered by their fathers. For we were born yesterday and know nothing, but because our days in the earth are a shadow, will they not teach you and tell you and utter the words from their heart? He essentially saying in Earl's terms, bro, remember the things we know, bro. We didn't teach these, remember the things of the past. Look back and everything we know to be true has come to pass. So now, again, he's trying to reinforce his logic, the logic that he stated with. Does God subvert judgment and does the Almighty pervert justice? Because if we agree that this statement is true, then by Bildad's logic, 2 + 2 must equal 4. And to Job saying, buddy, in any other circumstance, I would agree with you. But I am currently living in a 2 + 2 scenario, and my word, for some reason, I get in 5. So now something is different.
Right. I have a practical application of this.
Exactly. I know I innocent.
Mm-hmm.
But you see the little job that Bildad tried throwing that out in
Which one?
verse 4. If your sons have sinned against him,
Oh, yeah.
he has cast them away for their transgression. Bro, you know what it is, bro? I just lose all 10 of my children and you want to come talking this foolishness? Bro, here's the thing, bro. Even if that was true, this ain't the time nor the place to bring it up.
Because if you knew me, you knew that I atoned for my
But they
children's
sins,
sins.
hey,
Regularly.
for all of their sins
Right.
every morning.
But you basically telling me, Macho, your son probably do something to get killed anyway. Type, you know what I mean? Like he ain't say it that abruptly, but it's like, yeah, your son's dead, but they probably sinned. That's why they dead. That's why you still alive because you had some type of righteousness in you still, even though
That's
you were
essentially
sinning.
what he's saying, bro.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, God killed them, but you still got something in you. But you need to
Repent.
admit you also have some fault to play.
Yeah.
Hope was lost for them, but for you, my good sir. And I trying to help you get it back.
But college has taught me not to speak in definitives, right? Because like when you want to test, when something is if you have a true or false question and they have like this never happens or this always happens, it's like okay, this got to be false because it's nuance, bro. Like you know what I'm saying, right? And so they, I quick to say to use language like it's possible or it's likely or it seems like, right? Because I ain't trying to completely rule out the possibility that the opposite is true, even though the overwhelming evidence point to one thing. But I must say though, this is the 1% of times when all of the evidence point to you being guilty, when you are in fact innocent. Like it does not look good for Job. My personal experience, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm when I first come to Orlando, bro. Remember my apartment was messed up.
Yeah, I remember.
They give me a bad apartment, moldy. I had to get a car off my uncle, but the payments I couldn't keep up with. They repo my. You see, they saying they repo it. There's all type of things. Like I did apply for this one apartment, and they take my money there, and they didn't secure a place for me. Like all type of things was happening to me. And I was telling my cousin about it, and he said, "But you steal from the church, eh?" True, it made me laugh though. It did make me laugh, bro. I wasn't expecting that question, but it's like in the back of our mind.
Surely you had to do something bad for all of these bad things to happen to you.
It's not a coincidence that this series of unfortunate events continues to happen, or like this quote unquote dark cloud is following you around. It is no coincidence, bro. You know, so like I don't think we live in a world where we believe, oh, it just so happens. Like I'll give you another example. When I was with my sister, my alternator went bad. We drove 4 hours to Tallahassee to go take my little brother to school, and my alternator went bad on the way. God has preserved my alternator was bad before I left Orlando. My alternator was going bad because it was giving off a smell. And I thought it was something else that was giving off the smell. I was like, but I can't get rid of the smell. And I know that for a fact. I keep complaining with the smell. Come to find out, that was the cause. But when we got all the way to the hotel, I cut off the car, checked in, come back to the car in, and turn it back on because the alternator bad. God preserve me, preserve us, help us to get there, you know. But I get it fixed the next day. Cost me a pretty penny. I ain't gonna lie. $1,000 I was not expecting because I changed the alternator, I changed the battery, had to get it towed, stuff like that. So we come back from Orlando. The next day, we spent 2 days later, we come back to Orlando and I catch a flat tire. It was my bad. I was driving and my phone was falling. And so I go on to get my phone and I end up swerving, hitting a curb. You see they saying, police my tire. Now it's like 10 p.m. I just come back to Orlando. I just drive 4 hours. You say, I'm tired, bro. I am tired the week before I was in North Carolina. You see what I'm saying? I am tired. And my sister was like, bro, that's some hard luck. You say, you need to pray. Like my sister, and it was funny because like I'm more of the suggest prayer out of the two of us. She's like, but them prayers mommy used to do in the morning, you got to command in the morning. She started telling me I need to break some chains. You know what I mean? But it's so apparent, like you see things that happen. It is so uncanny that certain things happen consecutively. That's Job's reality. One thing that you lose all your money in one day. It's happening. Some people gamble their stuff away. Sometimes your company could go under just in the blink of an eye. Everything you could lose, right? But you still have your family, right? You still have your health. Like some certain people, they trying to cheer you up. They'd be like, all right, you lost this, but at least you got that. Job didn't even have that comfort because everything you could have said at least he had was gone. You see what I'm saying?
At least he had a wife, though.
At least he had a wife. They were separated for a time because he was up under that tree with his friends. I don't know if it was under that tree, but he was somewhere with his friends for a while. We don't hear about her. She could have been right there. They just don't write about her, but I don't know. But at least she was still alive by the grace of God. Oh, we did hear about her in the ending of the book. You say he's saying so proof of life at the end still. But ain't too much to look forward to because his health was gone too. His mind was gone. Like he can't sleep. You see he's saying? Like his friends, he don't have the morality or the comfort of his friends. They lost all integrity in him. You know what I mean? Like so yeah, man. So that's the rare occasion. Reason why I don't speak in definitives often if I ever do. Reason why I don't do it, because even in situations like this, all of the signs point to him. He is red-handed. And yet, he is still innocent. You see what I'm saying? Like, what a conundrum.
Oh my. So let's keep going. So now in verse 11, Job 8, verse 11. Can the papyrus grow up without a marsh? Can the reeds flourish without water? While it is yet green and not cut down, it withers before any other plant. So are the paths of all who forget God, and the hope of the hypocrite shall perish, whose confidence shall be cut off, and whose trust is a spider's web. He leans on his house, but does not stand. He holds it fast, but it does not endure. He grows green in the sun, and his branches spread out in his garden. His roots wrap around the rock heap and look for a place in the stones. If he is destroyed from his place, then it will deny him, saying, I have not seen you. Behold, this is the joy of his way, and out of the earth offers others will grow. Behold, God will not cast away the blameless, nor will he uphold the evildoers. He will fill your mouth with laughing, and your lips with rejoicing. Those who hate you will be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked will come to nothing. And so it was interesting with Job's friends, right? We could see they know God,
For sure.
They know God's character, but I would say even like myself, they find themselves having a picture of God that is very, very absolute and matter of factly, right? And we all, shouldn't say we all, a lot of people have this view of God. It may not even be the same view of God, but they all have a view of God, right? Because to your point, right? Alternator gone bad, tire gone flat, and then a couple days, something else had happened. Like, all them stuff in a short period of time, the first thing was saying, "Hey, what's going on here, God? Like, what I do?" You start thinking, like, "But what I do? Like, I should have given money to the old man on the side of the road."
Real talk.
I know I feel there's something in my heart when I drive past. I should have given him that $10. Maybe everybody give him that $10. None of this stuff would have happened, right?
Preserve me,
but think about it, right? In our minds, we start equating it for like, oh, I didn't do good, thus good should not happen to me, right? But then it's like we have to take a step back and realize that God does not operate that way. And the thing we have to rationalize with is our version of what a just God should be isn't God's version of what a just God is. And that's the biggest thing. Go for it.
No, I was agreeing, bro. I don't really even have much to say though. I was just agreeing for real. Like,
Yeah, bro. Because we all have this version of God in our head, bro. Because here's the thing, right? We about to get to Job's response, but I can't even say, bro, if Bildad had come to me with that logic at the beginning, I'd be like, "But you right? Even though I know I innocent, bro, like what you saying doesn't really sound too bad, right? But there's flaws in it because of this A B C equal X Y Z philosophy you have right now of God." Because it doesn't allow room for anything in between. Like we go, and I know we mentioned a couple of times in this same Job series, right? But again, it goes back to like when Jesus healed the blind man, and everyone was like, "Yo, Jesus, like who sinned?" Because surely this guy, someone had to sin for him to be blind from birth.
right.
So you see that logic of like, bro, bad happened, who sinned? It's just interesting because it like stuff like this starts to question your philosophy, question your views on justice, question what you think is right and wrong.
Yeah, and to that point, the who sinned point, even years after, hundreds of years after Job, even after Christ was around, people still had that frame of thought. Bad equals something bad must have happened for this badness to manifest itself. You know, someone sinned, which is why this tragedy of being lame, I think, or blind, or I can't remember the state of the person. Something must have happened to cause that, you know. And I think it's human nature, either that or it's like based on our understanding of God and Yahweh, because they were Jews as well. It's just our understanding of God and the scriptures lead us to that. But one thing I will say though is that I a little conflicted because even still I ain't convinced that that's not the case. But like I see in Job right here with my own eyes, right? But it's hard for me to grapple with reality that this
Bro,
thing could just happen too. You know what I'm saying?
agreed. It's such a hard thing to wrestle with, right? And again, we even see in Job live through it, and he don't even understand it. And that's even a weirder place to be. Like, bro, I live in it.
Right. And I
Bro,
and I could say Job is more righteous than I because I wouldn't describe myself the way God described Job. You see what
no,
I'm saying? And if someone to get that level of righteousness and even he can't understand it, you know what I
bro.
mean?
All I can say is I don't think God pointing me out to Satan.
Have you considered? Oh, no. Don't worry about
Oh, I love my child, but boy, he have some things that we still working on. We still working on that one.
For Job. But yeah, though, and so it's like I understand it, but I think the thing that I am at this stage, the thing that I am leaning on is that regardless of how you view God, even if it's based on personal experience and Bible, stay away from like a depiction of God that does not allow for um for the unknown, or what's it called, for things that you just can't understand, and
You can't rationalize.
right, for something irrational. Don't have God so sealed tight that there cannot be any nuance or any extreme nuance that you can't even understand. That like that possibility has to always be in your view of God. You know.
Bro, agreed. Like, take a small tangent here, right? But there's a show called The Chosen. We've both watched it, right? I'm not even going to talk about the latest scene because something big in that happened that we actually could talk about. But I'm going to talk about like little James in that show. He has a leg issue, like a limp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the show, it's like, bro, he's seen other people get healed.
Mm-hmm.
And you with Jesus in the show now, granted, but Jesus didn't offer to heal you. Right? And it's so interesting, right? Because just because you know he can doesn't mean he has to. And that's and that's the next thing that's like it's a hard pill for people to swallow. Yes, like bad things can happen. Bad things do happen. God does allow bad things to happen. And it doesn't always mean that you have to understand the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the weird thing, because we always think there has to be a quote unquote logical explanation for everything that happens. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and here's the thing, 99% of the times there probably is a logical explanation. Right? But that 1% of the time is what starts to get is what starts to rock people. Because this right here in Job is like a 1% of the time. All of his friends can't see what's going on behind the spiritual realm. Not even Job, even though Job hinting that he knows there's something spiritual, because he even hinted to us like, bro, I notice this hedge of protection around me, and that is the reason I can't die, which is so interesting because like your blessing is what's preventing you from dying right now, but to you is a curse because you really want to die. Like his friends can't see what's happening in the heavenly realm, because they could have been able to be like, oh yeah, we know what's going on, but it's just a test.
For sure.
Which is so interesting, right? Because you realize, well, we two friends in now, right? But ain't none of them saying, but this may just be a test to see how faithful you are to God.
Boy.
Which is a different, completely way of looking at it, right? Because we kind of know that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into this next argument, but like, is that just? You putting me through all this trial and tribulation just to test my faith, to test my loyalty to you? Was it just for God to ask Abram to sacrifice his only son?
But, and it's like, from the singular, this one human out of billions or trillions, zillions, whoever existed, view, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could say, but that's why I got, but me, I'm the lucky guy to go through all that, right? But if you put it like this, we at war. It's good versus evil. It's a great controversy, as Adventists would say, happening right now. And you can be a soldier, a pivotal point in this war, you know what I'm saying, to prove that I am just and that it is possible to love me, right? But the only way to prove that is to put you through all conditions to show that you can love me unconditionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
If God was to explain that, right, it would be more palatable.
Easy. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be like, okay, I get it now. I have but then that's still swaying the witness too, because if he was to come out and tell you, now you have a vested interest in it. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it wouldn't be unconditional. You would do it for the sake of winning. You see what I'm saying? Because you know it's value in it. Mm-hmm. But now we have Job who don't have no understanding. I was watching one video on Instagram this week, but he was talking about how like God will give you the vision, right? The vision is the end goal.
Yep.
You are going to be this. But he ain't telling you how it's going to happen. You see what I'm saying?
Thing.
Because if he tell you how it can happen, you could be like, no, I straight. I don't even want that no more.
Like I said, this one out, God. I ain't gonna lie.
He tell Joseph, bro, you could be the hay that all, you could be the star that all the other stars surround and bow down to. You see what I'm saying? Joseph had that. He knew the end result since he was a boy. You see what I'm saying? But God ain't never tell Joseph, oh yeah, true, you can get wrongfully convicted for a rape charge. You see what I'm saying? Like
your brothers can sell you into slavery.
Your brother can sell you into slavery. You could get wrongfully convicted for a rape charge.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? You could be in jail for good much years. You see what I'm saying? Oh, and then all that can happen. You know? No, he ain't tell you that, because if he tell me that, I can say, my God, but I so cool with just being a regular star. I can do the bow, but why I gotta go to jail? You know what I mean? Like, oh Lord, now, bro. Like, what? You sure?
Say I can do the bowing trick.
I can do the bowing. I can, but uplift my necks, bro. I get good much, brothers, bro. Like, for real, bro. Like, he tell Joseph, he anoint Joseph, you could be the next king. But Joseph gotta live in hiding. Joseph gotta act like a crazy man in the Philistine camp. David, my bad. David have to be running from Saul for all these years. His father-in-law trying, but I have a father-in-law. You know how annoying that would be? If the boy trying to kill me every time. But that is not cool, bro. You see what I'm saying, bro? Like, and then he had to hide amongst the Philistines. You know what I'm saying? He had to act crazy, all type of thing happening, all for you to get to where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, would you take that? And so that's the situation with Job. Like, it's a lot of things at stake right here. I don't know if it's that much at stake because, you know, God ain't looking at us like he need us. You see what I'm saying? Like, God don't need any of us, you know? And even if we fall, that don't mean God ain't faithful. You know what I'm saying? And that don't mean the devil right. Excuse me, especially because he coerces.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play fair. But at the end of the day, Job, if Job's friends was privy to the spiritual realm, that would be an indictment against them. Because if y'all was as righteous as y'all making out to be right now, y'all would be in Job's shoes as well. You see what I say? The God would say, hey, have you considered Eliphaz, Bildad, Job? You see what I'm saying? Like, he would have gone on the list, but he didn't. There was only one person who fit the bill.
Mercy. So now we in chapter 9, and we get to hear Job's response to Bildad. So then Job answered and said, truly, I know it so. But how can a man be righteous before God? If one wished to contend with him, he could not answer him one time out of 1,000. God is wise in heart and mighty in strength. Who has hardened himself against him and prospered? He removes the mountains and they do not know. When he overturns them in his anger, he shakes the earth out of its place and its pillars tremble. He commands the sun and it does not rise. He seals off the stars. He alone spreads out the heavens and treads on the wave of the sea. He made out the Baal, Orion, and Pleiades, and in the chambers of the south. He does great things past finding out. Yes, wonders without number. If he goes by me, I do not see him. If he moves past, I do not perceive him. If he takes away, who can hinder him? Who can say to him, what are you doing? God will not withdraw his anger. The allies of the proud lie prostrate beneath him.
It's also interesting. I mean,
go for it.
You don't have historical context of when Job was. Some people believe he was around during the time of Abraham, for real. But regardless, right? It's just interesting how his knowledge of God is, right? So if this happened after Joshua, we could say, oh yeah, God tells the sun not to go down. You see what I'm saying? Not to rise, and it listens, right? How you know that? How you know God have command? You remember during the time of Hezekiah, right? When time went back for Hezekiah, that was such a phenomenon that people came to visit him, like the wise man from the east came to visit him, like, bro, they say your God had something to do with that. You know what I mean? We know Hezekiah get to brag and he pulled some strings for me. He said, he's saying, let me show you all my riches. And that lead him to that lead the Israelites to getting robbed a couple of years, some years later. You know what I mean?
Boy, oh boy.
But yeah, so it's like, how do you know all of this, bro? Like, how do you know? I mean, obviously during that time they wasn't idiots and they did a lot of studying and they were more in tune with nature. One thing that I did enjoy when I was in Dubai was just how much into natural resources they were on that side of the road compared to us. You see what I'm saying? Like they could show you mint leaves. You see what I'm saying? Or this is used to make gum, or this is used to a numbing sensation. Like these natural things that we go to chemicals for. You know what I'm saying? Here on this side of the world. And so even then, when they didn't have electricity, of course they were more in tune with the sky. Bro, I can't think of the last time I just sat outside and looked at the stars, but these things we used to do as kids. When you go on the island, growing up, bro, as a child, as a young person like 10 and younger and thing on the island, but it wasn't too much to do, bro. You saw like get hit, you gotta find something activity-wise to do. You see what I'm saying? We outside, we looking at the stars, we playing dominoes, stuff like that, playing cards, whatever. And so that it's just interesting to me though, because he going into such detail onto like how orchestrated God, how God orchestrates everything. Like he orchestrates the seas and the sky. You know what I'm saying? The heavens, X, Y, Z. He has a vast understanding of God, and sometimes I just wish that we had a little more understanding to be like, oh, this was during this time, and they had this much available to them. But regardless of when it was, he knew a lot about God, and he's here telling like, bro, can someone even be righteous to God, bro? Like, let's be for real, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Bro, he is actually saying, bro, it's useless for me to try to come at God right now, like to try to prove my innocence. Like, how can I be righteous before God? Like, how can I contend with him? Like, I am but a mortal man.
Hmm.
And so, like, it's such an interesting thought because, like, Job, in me understand that Job saying, bro, y'all ain't getting it. Eliphaz, Bildad, y'all ain't getting it. I is an innocent man. But I need to plead my case before God because I can't plead in front of y'all. Y'all ain't getting it. Because y'all stuck in this rigid view of what just and justice is. And I was there too. But right now, this is an extraordinary case. I need to go before God and plead my case. But how can I, as a mortal man, talk to the one who holds the mountains in place? If he angry, they go away. He who called up the pillars of the earth, who have the waves on the seashore, who made the bear, Orion, and Pleiades. You know, how can I approach this type of God and plead my innocence? How can I contend with this right now? Because right now, I need y'all to know I'm innocent. I need God to know I'm innocent. But Job right now trying to figure out, like, how can I contend with this? You see now in verse 14, how then can I answer him and choose my words to reason with him? For though I were righteous, I cannot answer him. I would beg mercy of my judge. If I had called and he answered me, I would not believe that he was listening to my voice. For he crushes me with a tempest and multiply my wounds without cause. He will not allow me to catch my breath, but fills me with bitterness. If it is a matter of strength, indeed he is strong. And if of justice, who will appoint my day in court?
when I can get my trial.
Though I were righteous, my own mouth would condemn me. Though I were blameless, it would not prove me perverse.
It would prove me perverse.
It would prove me perverse. Let me just keep going. I am blameless, yet I do not know myself. I despise my life. It is all one thing. Therefore I say, he destroys the blameless and the wicked. If the scourge slays suddenly, he laughs at the plight of the innocent. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of its judges. If it is not he, who else could it be? Wow.
Because so based on that point alone, though, I wonder though if he was aware of the enemy or like the enemy's hand in certain things. Because remember earlier, like a couple episodes back, we were saying that when he was going through these things, he didn't go and say the devil busy. You see what I'm saying? He gone and say God has done this type of situation. And in a way, he was right. No matter how you slice it, because the Lord permitted. You know what I'm saying? The Lord gave the devil license to do this thing. And so you could look at it as a God do this to me because the devil don't have no authority over this thing unless given to him or unless I forfeit my right by breaking covenant, which I did not do. You see what I'm saying? And so now when he, when he talking, this was one of the interesting chapters to me in all of his rounds. But he like, bro, like when I can get my day in court type situation, like if that's the case for real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he talk about how you could talk to God 1,000 times and he could answer you once. Like this ain't a situation where you could really express your grievances, like This ain't an even playing field between me and God. I can't just walk up to him and protest and stuff like that because he on a different plane than I am, you know?
Mhm.
And even everything I do, bro, I just look guilty. Like I innocent, but I don't even recognize myself, bro. Like who am I, bro? Like demand, multiply my wounds. Like these are the type of things he's saying, bro, I can't even catch my breath. You know this, you can't catch your breath, but you know you running after someone, right? As soon as you slow down to catch your breath, they start, someone chasing you. As soon as you slow
Uh-huh.
down and try to catch your breath, they chase you again. You're like, "Bah, I can't even catch my breath. I gotta go again." You know what I mean? And so it sounds like God just ragging him for real. The way he talking. You know what I mean? The way he talking.
Bro, I agree, right? And to your earlier point with like Job, right? I wonder if Job knew that this could sound cocky, but he knew he was so tight with God that anything bad happening to him, I wouldn't say the devil has no power, but God had to permit it to happen. Like pretty much saying the same thing you're saying, but it was like, bro, the devil ain't a factor in anything that'll happen to me. I know the relationship with God and I know God personally, right? So all of this stuff that just started to happen, it really appears that Job was aware of his blessedness.
Mm-hmm.
He was aware of his blessedness, but he wasn't a lavish living guy. He was like Abraham, like humble guy. I am blessed, but I am doing everything to stay tight with God. Bro, this man was even painted in a better light than Abraham. If you ask me, we call Abraham the father of faith, but this Abraham wasn't sacrificing for Ishmael. The Bible ain't never say, like I just said, the Bible ain't never say Abraham was sacrificing for Isaac. For Ishmael, I don't know.
And Abraham had good much other sons.
All the rest of them, Jocham and all them other ones he had at the end,
You don't
mercy.
even have a them for real.
All the Keturah turn. You don't have
Boy,
them.
that's
But we
something.
know Job every morning, bro. And the thing about it, and he was sacrificing, saying, bro, because if they forget to confess a sin and they sacrifices, I sacrifice for them to make sure that they're all covered.
Hmm.
If they miss and sin in their drunkenness last night, I try to cover it. Like that's the type of relationship Job had with God. So to me, it's like him saying, bro, I know anything that happened to me, you allowed it. Now I don't know like Job saying, I don't know the full behind the scenes. I don't know, but I know something ain't right. And my boy saying, guess what? And it's so interesting, right? Because he first off saying, bro, like who essentially who is this mortal man that I can go to God, right? And then we see when the part we just read, he's saying, bro, even if I was to get my day in court, bro, would he even hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would he even hear me? Like, who am I to go against God? He is too powerful. We know he's a powerful being. Like, who am and it's such an interesting question too. Like I get there, bro, and it's like I do all of this to get my time in court. And for what? It's like I about to say a case. I know I innocent. I have all the facts. But he said, as soon as I open my mouth, essentially could be used against me. Because who am I with my mortal tongue to talk against God?
I can't. I ain't on that level to even complain, Dre.
Like my boy said, this is an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Like I know I can't win this battle. Mercy. Mercy. Where was he? Verse 25?
Yeah.
Now my days are swifter than a runner. They flee away. They see no good. They pass by like swift ships, like an eagle swooping on its prey. If I say, I will forget my complaint, I will put off my sad face and wear a smile. I am afraid of all my sufferings. I know that you will not hold me innocent. If I am condemned, why then do I labor in vain? If I wash myself with snow water and cleanse my hands with soap, yet you will plunge me into the pit, and my own clothes will abhor me. For he is not a man as I am, that I may answer him, and that we should go to court together, nor is there any mediator between us, who may lay his hand on us both. Let him take his rod away from me, and do not let me dread him and do not let dread of him terrify me. Then I would speak and would not fear him. But it is not so with me.
Such a predicament that he in. But at least he tripling down at this point because he's saying, bro, all right, let me show you how serious I is that I innocent, bro. God has put me in this predicament.
Mm-hmm.
God destroys the innocent and the guilty. I letting you know now. You say he's saying because everyone keeps saying it. Does he destroy the innocent? Does he pervert justice? Yeah, I ain't gonna say the pervert justice part, but yes, he destroys the innocent and the guilty. Period. That's just him. You see what he's saying? That's what Job's saying. And Job like, bro, I innocent, and I'd fight this. But you can't fight against God, bro. It just ain't being on the same level, bro. Like how he ended, we say, bro, even if I was to appear in court, who would mediate?
Exactly.
Who is superior to me and God and can give that unbiased view to say who right and who wrong?
Mercy. And I definitely agree with that, right? Like Job saying, and it's so interesting, right? Because we could tie this into Jesus, right? But Job saying, bro, I need a chance to plead my case in court against God.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm innocent. But I know I am not I am the defense witness. I am the defense. I know I am innocent, but the prosecution have the best lawyer in town.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got the money to afford a lawyer, so I trying to go by myself. But I know they put me on the stand and it gets song bad. I innocent, but it gets song bad. I need somebody who could defend me in court, who know my innocent and could stand before me in the front of God to plead my case.
Yeah. He's saying it's a conflict of interest, bro, because the only person who could judge is the person who I going to court against.
Mercy.
You see what I said? Like, so what they can do? What would court solve in this instance? And this make me, to me, you come to me with these type talks that make me really think you guilty. So I said, so let me get this straight. The person who could be the judge, the only person worthy of being the judge, the only person know the law like the back of their hand because they are the law. They are the definition of righteousness. The person who condemning you, and you saying that they been unrighteous in the situation and not you, and you all can't go to court because ain't nobody could judge between you. I don't know, buddy. This don't sound in your favor for real, It just don't sound like it. And it's really like, I remember I have a friend, he like kind of stutters from time to time. And he plays tricks on people all the time. We used to work on a moving company. He used to play tricks, bro. And one time he was moving and a dare was just like around. And for those, especially those in the Bahamas who ain't really familiar with dare, you don't really see dare in the daytime. They're more nocturnal creatures. In the nighttime, late in the night, you're out on the highway, you almost certainly could see it there because they trying to cut you off in traffic and things like that, right?
They so cold with it, but like they just want to play chicken.
They just wait till you come.
Like you were this whole time to cut across the road, buddy.
For real, bro. So we moving furniture, right? And this dare really all up on us. And they not like that though. They don't really be all up on you. You get too close to them, they running and things like that, And he was like, look, right? And we like, yeah, sure, buddy. But we moving furniture and stuff. We like, but we ain't falling for it, bro. He's like, no. But because he have like a speech impediment, he can't really he couldn't really say it. And them
the excitement get him. Yeah,
the excitement get him. And it's like, you didn't have so much time before the dare just run away. And no one really we really not going to believe anything was there. You know what I mean? And so when we look, we like, oh, it dead. Everybody just bust out laughing because we like, bro, you play so many games. We just can't trust it. You know what I mean? I say all that to say, bro, I can see why Job friends why they just ain't buying it, bro. Like, because in the next episode, we're going to talk about a new friend.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? A friend where everybody's side, you're like, yeah, Job, I ain't like. Because, sometimes two people can be arguing and you listen and you like, I think I feel it what Job's saying. You see what I'm saying? Or even or even none of y'all making sense type vibe, right? But ain't nobody on Job's side. Nobody's on Job's side, bro. Ain't nobody saying, I know, Job, you good for it. I know you make plenty sense in life. So I, one, believe you. But then at the same time, for you to be on Job's side, you have to be willing to admit you not on God's side.
Mercy.
See what I'm saying? In a way, because everyone's mindset is like Job versus God. God has brought this penalty. Job say it was unjustly brought. So who do you believe? If you take Job's side, you willing to say God was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, boy, I ain't gonna lie. I don't think I would have been on Job's side. And I standing on that, bro.
That's the thing about it, and that's why I said at the beginning of the episode, like, and again, it's when Bildad laid out the case, right? It was a logical argument, even though we could talk about it now, 5,000 years removed from it. Like, we could say, okay, this is a different way. But if you think about it from Bildad's, Eliphaz's perspective, bro, this is all we have known up to this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all we have known about God up to this point. Job might have had a slightly different, closer connection with God, obviously, because he's the one who actually going through the trial, to your point. You know what I'm saying? But it also appeared that Job also had this belief of God. But now that he's going through it, he's starting to say, yo, things aren't as rigid as I once seemed, right? But if we go back to Bildad's point, bro, and Eliphaz's point, bro, these are the things we've seen happen. The past 999 times before, this was the pattern. So why must we believe on the 1,000th case, you are the anomaly?
Yeah, dog.
And think about it. Eliphaz, where you saying, bro, just repent, go back to God, bro. Like, God get accepted. We know God's character. Bildad, for whatever his flaws was saying, bro, we know the character of God, bro. Just repent. God is a just God. He ain't like, God is a just God. He's willing to forgive you. Like, just,
and they saying he can restore you, bro. Like, he can bring back your laughter, and you know what I mean?
Exactly. So like, it's weird, right? Because like Job taking Haggis, Job knowing like, bro, y'all talking foolishness right now, y'all trying to comfort me, but in a weird way. But they also saying, bro, like, we know the character of God too. So, and again, so like, you put yourself in this predicament, you're like, bro, who right? And I like how you phrase it, like, you either talking about like, bro, either you right or God right. They couldn't comprehend in a world where both could be true.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, it was so black or white that no gray area existed, and because the gray area was kind of scary in this case, because now you have to change your paradigm. You have to change the way you conceptually thought about God, who God is, who is his character. You telling me that God could allow bad things to happen to innocent people? What does that mean?
Right. And how do we have faith in righteousness from then? If we know, because some people constrain to do righteousness for their own protection. Hey, I know God tell me if I be righteous, you know what I'm saying? He never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread type situation. He ain't gonna forsake me because I'm righteous. You see what I'm saying? But it's like, well, I have no comfort in being righteous if I be righteous, especially if I do it too good. I can end up in Job's shoes. You know what I mean? That's shot at anybody's belief.
And it's so interesting, right? Because again, we have to go back and remember the whole premise of what's happening here, right? Like, Satan's whole thing was, bro, Job only being so righteous because of what you're blessing him with. Job only being so righteous because he have his family, he have his health, he have all these possessions. Job only being so righteous because of these things, God, because of your blessings. And here's the question, right? Bro, if God stopped blessing you today, if he stopped allowing all the things he has been affording you up to this point today, does that mean you are supposed to stop loving him? Does that mean you're supposed to stop serving him? Because that was Satan's premise. And that's the crazy thing about, like, we arguing about all these other nuances, right? Satan's premise, like, bro, Job only doing this because of these things, right? And so now God's saying, okay, you could take away these things, but I know Job and his character, and Job will not curse me. He will not stop blessing me. Now, I never said he ain't questioning, because any human could question, right? But he will not stop blessing me. And the real thing is, like, how much people would stop? How much Christians get rubbed the wrong way and they leave the church completely?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't even talk about Adventists. I talk about just like, bro, they are no longer identifying themselves as a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You grow up in the church. You grow up knowing God's character. You see, like Job, you grow up knowing these things. You all your life. Now, one bad thing happened to you or something going the wrong way, or your perception of God changed. Oh, that can't be the good God no more because this happened to me and now I am no longer serving Christian. That is what Satan expected to happen to Job. And here's the thing. Satan probably saw this happen to thousands of other people.
He know the rule. He know the rule, the game book.
He invented the playbook.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He invented the playbook. And so it's interesting, right? Because now I'm even thinking like, yo, if I'm in Job's shoes, what would I do in that predicament? Hope to God I'm going to find out. But
yeah, but the devil had it set in his mind, though, no matter what. If someone feel like they about to lose their life, they'll do anything, even betray God to get that back. You see what I'm saying? Like, and so that's the devil playbook. And so that's why he put Job in that predicament, but Job is a different breed.
Amen.
You know?
Amen. And now you see Job saying, now I need someone. It's so interesting, right? Because Job saying, I need someone to talk, to plead my innocence before God. And it's so interesting because God knows Job is innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Job can't even rationalize what he's going through. He thinks that, because deep down he still thinks he's being punished for something. And he's like, God must have a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
This might have supposed to have been for Bildad. How he talking? Okay? Like, I know I innocent. Hey, God, all Job trying to say is, God, you got the wrong one. Hey,
Listen.
think about it. Like for Job, it's more of a sense that, bro, I just trying to clear my name. I ain't marginal. I ain't mad at you, God. I do want to die because this ain't pleasurable right now. I feel like I'm suffering for no reason. But above all, I really just want to clear my name. Even if I die, I just want you. And think about it, like he wants God to know that I'm innocent, that he's innocent. He's like, I just want my name to be clear. Like I was a righteous man this whole time. I ain't do nothing. And I ain't even lying. Now these guys thinking like doubling down on my sin. They think, hey, Kazi, they think I sin. Now they really think I sinning because I lying about not sinning.
That's how I would have felt. I'd have been like, bro, stop, bro. Just cut it out, bro. Because you could see they starting to get less gracious with it, with their response to him. They're like, boy, I'll be frank with you, bro. Like the first, it was kind of like Eliphaz, he was kind of like saying, bro, you should do this type situation. You know what I mean? But Bildad coming out and saying, boy, your sons died. They probably sinned, bro. That's why they dead. You see what they saying? Like if we being for real, bro, like you see what they saying? Like, bro, you know, like
your boy going with it too, boy.
Yeah, bro. Like they starting to get a little more frank with him, you know. And you can see more people getting more frank with him. Like we have another friend who get frank with all them, bro. Like, hold on, they all making sense for real. Like you see what I saying? Like, but yeah, bro, I would have taken that as, well, you just stubborn, you know. And even in this day and age, bro, you have people who stand on certain things, bro. Stand on these things, bro. Like it's gospel. They mean that with their whole heart, bro. And it's like, I think you're wrong, bro. I think you're wrong, bro. Like you said, I saying, but I know it ain't no getting through to you type situation because you probably think the same thing as me. Like some people might look at me saying that because I observed the 7-day Sabbath, I lost. Some people think that. You see what I'm saying? They think,
because Jesus is our aspect.
Jesus is our Sabbath. That's what people say. But now if I apply that same logic, now it's like I being facetious or I taking things out of context because I could easily say, bro, Jesus is my way, the truth, and my light. So I don't need to go no way. I could say Jesus is the bread. You see what I say? Like Jesus is, he's the bread of life, I guess, bread of heaven. Or I could say Jesus is the living water, right? If that means I don't have to drink water ever again because Jesus is the water. You see what I'm saying? It's like Jesus, he uses himself as metaphor in many ways, bro, to illustrate things. Now, I'll be honest with you. Jesus is our rest. 1,000% Jesus is our rest. You see what I'm saying? But also, the Sabbath is a day to keep holy. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, this obviously ain't a lecture on the Sabbath, but I like to talk about it in the event that, you know, somebody new here so they can understand my stance, but then also for a little bit of perspective that they might not have considered. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe they considered, maybe they feel oppositely. Tomato, tomato, bro. Like I can't fight you with it, bro. We see some righteous men have a difference in theology, even right now, and it was lives at stake. Like it was a life or death situation right there. You see what I'm saying? Some his friends them was feeling, and it kind of reminds me of Adventism, or what Adventism is like known for, like the negativity of it, where we have this quote unquote present truth, what is bursting in us. And it is so hard to contain ourselves to the point where we do not think of the best times to tell someone this. You see what I'm saying? We don't try to offer it gently sometimes, because it's like, we're like, no cap. If a wasp was on you right now, I wouldn't say, boy, a wasp on you right now. What this thing you say he's saying? I'd say if it's emergency, boy, you say he's saying, or if like a tarantula, boy, look at that. You see what I saying? And so that's how we have Adventists, like that's kind of the reputation that we've built over the years, that a lot of times people speak to you like, bro, you gotta stop doing this, you gotta stop doing this, you gotta da-da-da. And they push that on you. And they don't understand how ineffective that could be. Not everybody even on that time, but this might have been my first time in church. Like you would see somebody who was clearly a LGBTQ member come to church. The pastor see that, and the pastor instantly want send like some shots their way. You see they saying, yeah, and you need to stop doing this, you need to stop doing that. Some people need a pat on the back, some people need a kick in their backside. You say saying you can't just start kicking every time. That ain't an effective method. You see what I saying? Like for real.
One size fit all type thing.
Exactly. Type of cookie cutter. And I see that with Job's friends. They forcing this, bro. This the truth. They ain't handing them out. They ain't trying to provide no nuance. You see what I'm saying? They just matter of fact with it, bro. This is what's happening, bro. You know what I mean? And sometimes that is not fruitful at all. Especially because, bro, you gotta proceed with caution, bro, because you don't always know the best way to do something. Just because something poison in you, boy, I gotta get this out. I gotta tell him, don't wear jewelry. I gotta, like you gotta consider timing, bro. It's a time for everything, bro. You gotta consider that's impulsiveness, bro. Like, you see what I saying? Like it ain't temperance. It ain't like patience, which is a fruit of the spirit.
Boy, that's the truth. That
You
is
know what I mean?
the truth. I was gonna go to that's gonna tell a different story just now. That'd been a big tangent. But one thing I could read, right? First Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. For there's one God, and there's one mediator between God and man, the man Jesus Christ, who gave himself as ransom for all, which is the testimony given at the proper time. And it's just like, start lining this plane, right? But like, we see the mediator that Job was hoping to get came centuries later. Someone who was not only just a man who could stand before God, but God himself. And I know in the Daniel episodes, we talked about this courtroom setting, and Jesus is our defense lawyer and the one who pleading our case, right? But quite literally, we seeing this is what Job wanted. He wanted someone who was worthy enough to plead his case on behalf, to God on his behalf, right? And it's interesting, right? Because Job was an innocent man, but thank God that Jesus serves, like he takes our cases, and we ain't that innocent. You know what I'm saying? Jesus takes our cases, and he's saying, okay, yeah, boy, this is an interesting one. But guess what? He confessed, he believed in me, he repented of his sins earnestly, blots it out. So now when he presents our case to the judge looks and says, all right, I find this man innocent. And the prosecution over there, who's gonna be the accuser, the same one in the same court at the beginning of the story, gonna be like, hold on, Your Honor, the defense is lying. I watch him. I was there with him when he do this X, Y, and Z. I was with him when he was doing that. How you could tell me that this guy is innocent? And God the Father can say, well, the defense presented the case. I don't see the things you're accusing this man of here. So what are you talking about? Like, It's a blessing, man. Like we serve a God who is worthy enough, who is qualified enough to represent our case on our behalf, who is willing to go in front of God, the Father himself, and plead our case. We aren't as innocent as Job. Definitely not. Definitely not. But we do have someone who is willing to say, you know what? That is my child. I love them. But all in all, Jesus is our mediator, the only one qualified to represent us in the court of heaven. And thank God we have someone who is willing and able to plead our case before God, because through him, we have life and we have it more abundantly.
Tonight we hear from Job's friend Bildad, who also believes that Job should repent. He questions, have we ever seen God act unjustly? Does God subvert judgment, or does the Almighty pervert justice? Bildad concludes his speech by telling Job that God will fill him with laughter and his heart with rejoicing, meaning that God will turn his sadness into joy. However, Job rejects this line of thought. Job continues to plead his innocence. He even goes as far to say that he would be willing to appear in court against God. But who will be their mediator? Next, we will hear a little more of Job's plea with God, and we will also hear the opinion of his friend Zophar. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Nakhaz.
Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.